Episode of Care Sandwich. I am excited to announce that I have a 2-for-1 for you today. I have an awesome law firm owner and a media genius coming up next. First, check out this video. Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care. Hello, welcome back. So this is the first time for me. I have two guests that I'm going to interview at the same time, and they're really cool. I'm going to welcome them here to the virtual stage. Lee and Gary, come join me.
What's up, Margarita?
Hey, Margarita.
How's it going? Where are you coming to us from?
We are in my office in the suburbs of New Orleans, Louisiana. I was blessed that we were scheduled today, and Gary said, "Hey, I'm going to be in New Orleans. You want to get lunch?" I said, "Well, I got to pop on Margarita's podcast first, so we'll go to lunch after." He said, "Well, I could be on the podcast too." I said, "Let's do it." And you were kind enough to let us do it.
Yeah, well, and I've had you both one-on-one before, so I think that today's going to be a really fun conversation because you, Lee, have the perspective of a law firm owner. You've been in business now for going on 3 years. Yes.
Got it.
And Gary has been at the law firm marketing game for a while and has a lot of wisdom about how to compete at any size in any market. And I think we can have a really wonderful conversation between the two of you about how actually do you get out there and compete when it feels like you're in a nuclear arms race in the in the injury space. And we're laughing because of a little backstage discussion that we had about
Didn't waste any time with that, Margarita. You pulled it right out and dropped that bomb, huh?
I'm a nerd and they tolerate it. Okay, so nuclear arms race, for those of you that don't know, during the no, I'm just kidding. So how do you compete when it feels like you just got to throw a bunch of money after project after project after project to get seen? Does it really have to be that way? Talk to us about it.
You know, what's funny, I was listening to other podcasts and some folks more established in the industry, and their message was, don't compete. And I said, well, yeah, that's a little self-serving, right? If you're the 800-pound gorilla, you want to keep everybody out of your market. But we started this firm a couple of years ago now, and my mentality was, praying for a referral is not a business strategy. So you have to get yourself out there. And I think that the digital space and maybe even connected TV, it's still somewhat of a blue ocean. And so if you're willing to be creative, and I think that the quality of your content is critical, then you can get out there, but you also have to have some fuel to throw on the fire. Otherwise, you are going to get drowned out. So there's a couple things you can do, but I know Gary's got some thoughts.
Yeah, Gary, what's your approach?
Somebody made a post today. Do you know Ryan McKean up in Connecticut?
No.
He's got a great consulting business. He's a trial lawyer. But he posted this today. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't go to law school to be a marketer. That's fine. Enjoy being a great lawyer nobody knows about. I don't care what business you are in.
That's a little rude, Gary, don't you think?
You got to get rude.
He's in the right place. He's in the right place.
We're getting rude. We're getting rude.
Yes. Get rude.
But in today's world, it doesn't matter what business you're in. But in this legal profession, if you want to be hired, you must invite people to hire you. They have to know who you are. And like Lee said before, you could talk about the blue ocean in connected TV. Nobody, nobody could own that space. The amount of impressions that are available there today are
Mm-hmm.
endless.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the right partner to do it is crucial.
But let me bring one other point to the table, Margarita.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your podcast is called Care Sandwich, and I know you lead with care. Right? So if putting the client first is what's important to you, and it should be for everybody in our profession.
Mm-hmm.
If putting the client first is important, then wouldn't you be doing the client a disservice if you think the lawyers that are on the billboards or on TV are not the quality of lawyer that should be representing these people? Wouldn't you be doing them a disservice if you're not out there saying, no, 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 I'm the one you should hire
Mm-hmm.
because I'm
Mm-hmm.
better. I can treat you better. I can get you a better result, and I'll care for you better than they will. You got to be out there telling them who you are and what you do.
If you put
Absolutely.
100 lawyers in a room with walls between all 100 and said, tell me what makes you different than any other law firm, you know what the two answers you're going to get over 70% of the time are?
I fight harder for you.
We care more, we win more.
So now let me say something a little rude. Okay. Being the devil's advocate, I have come across many wonderful law firm owners that have what I call marketing PTSD. They say, Margarita, I was open. I was open. I decided to invest in XYZ because such and such vendor was so nice. They were so convincing. And I spent all this money and I got nothing. How do you, as a law firm owner, protect yourself from that?
Well, there's a lot of charlatans in the business, right? There are absolutely a lot of folks out there that tell you they've got the secret sauce. They're going to get you ranked on ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok, and they've got the secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
So that's a problem for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if the only person you're trusting is the one person who's taking your money, then maybe the problem isn't them, it's you. You should have others that you can share ideas with, right? There's great folks in the industry that are very kind with their information, like both of you. There's
Mm-hmm.
mastermind groups. People have been down the road before. You shouldn't just pray that you've made the right decision. You should consult with other people and see, hey, what are
Mm-hmm.
you doing? Is this actually working? Is there a secret sauce? And the answer probably is no. A lot of marketing is testing and seeing what works and then recalibrating if it doesn't work.
Here's
And then
the
many
biggest
times, yeah, well, and then many times I think that your own data can also tell you what's working and what's not working, right?
100%. But what's the number one mistake law firms make when it comes to marketing?
They don't stick with it long enough to let it work.
Bam. That is the only answer. All marketing will work if you are patient. I listened to a podcast last week with Patrick Ben-David and John Morgan. And John Morgan has opened up in, 30 markets over the last 10 years. And he loses money in every market that he goes into for a while. But what he said was, when the spigot opens, it pours. And most people, and I have conversations like you do, Margarita, with guys like Lee all the time because I want to give back. I want to help. We don't do business together, but I'm absolutely willing to share my knowledge, what I've learned. But when people hit a big case, and let's call it a 7-figure case,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, there's this huge amount of cash flow. They don't want to pay taxes on it. So what do? They go invest it with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the runway to allow it to work. So a $300,000 windfall is a great start, but that is not going to build a brand. So if you
Absolutely.
don't get the next one and you're not turning enough cases for cash flow, all of a sudden I say you should have gone on a vacation with your significant other and really had a good time.
Margarita, so when I have these
Hire your
conversations,
spouse and go on vacation, right? Or get those tax breaks.
when I have these conversations with vendors or
Mhm.
partners, I said, don't give me the package. Don't tell me this is what it is. Say, tell me what it's going to take to make it work. How much
Mm,
do you need over what period of time? If I can
I love
afford it, let's do it. If I can't afford it, this is not the right time, because the last thing you want as my partner and I want as the one making the investment is for us to come to the end of this runway and I say, this didn't work. And you say to me, well, you didn't give us enough to make it work. And I'm saying to you, why did you tell me that on the front end?
right.
And it
Yeah.
happens.
I love that. I wish more law firm owners did that. And I think, from my perspective as a CMO, I know it's possible to forecast results from everything and anything. And different marketing channels work long term and some work short term. And you have to understand the difference and forecast accordingly. Gary, you work a lot in the radio space, which, that's branding. That does take a minute. And if you have the right message, it should work. And I think it is, you can forecast, because if you're spending enough to saturate one or two stations or three stations in the market, I know you can speak more about that, it should work. And you should have an idea as far as a timeline, how long it might take to work. And there are indicators. You and I have had this discussion, more in private, but about, you can do brand search research, right? And look at how day one of your radio spend, maybe, the phone didn't ring off the hook day one, but you can see that people were starting to now search "get rude" or whatever your catchphrase was on your spots. Those are indicators that you can use to then begin to forecast, okay, things are happening.
If more law firms had someone like you behind the scenes helping to navigate through this plethora of information that most people don't understand.
Yeah.
And like you said, I'm a radio guy.
Mhm.
I do not love the digital world. I think there's a lot of hocus pocus in reporting.
Yes.
But from our short experience, without naming any names,
Mm-hmm.
you saw what one radio campaign was
Mm-hmm.
and then switching it. And in 2 months, what's happened to people coming to the website is insane. Now, we've layered it with other pieces as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because one channel is not going to work. But
Right.
when you do multi-touches, whether it's all in digital or it's top of funnel and digital, bottom of the
Mm-hmm.
funnel, it will work if the business owner is patient. No different than your business or my business. We started with zero. And all of a sudden, you start to do good work. It begets other law firm owners. No different than when Lee gets a client here in New Orleans or in Louisiana and he does good work, he is going to be mentioned eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, people talk about great experiences. So back to caring.
Well, back to your original question. I don't know if you asked it online or you asked it offline, but the question is, what do you do to compete with the
Mm-hmm.
behemoth, right? The folks that have been in the game for a long time. My mentality is twofold. Right? I think you want to be different creatively, right?
Yes.
Build a brand that's sticky, that's simple. You got to break through the noise, and there's a lot of noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So particularly like if you're in social media, you got to get them to stop scrolling if you want to send them a message, because you can have the best message in the world, but if they don't hear it, what's the point, right? But the other part of it is with the clients. If you're not doing something after they're your clients, meaning you don't have them at your fingertips, if you're not doing something to stay in front of them, specifically or generally, meaning you're not on radio, TV, billboards where they're seeing you anyway, then you're losing this piece of gold, this referral gold, because you've lost touch with someone that probably would have been your champion because you did great for them. So what we're working on that actually as we speak is building out what's that campaign look like in 12 months, in 24 months, in 36 months to stay in front of them so they remember the Get Rude guy if they forget my name. And some way or another, their friend gets in the wreck and they remember 3 years later.
The young 3.5-year-old here versus the almost 60-year-old here.
Stop it. You're 40.
I feel 40.
In his mind.
I feel 40, thank God. But, we were talking about this earlier. And to break through clutter, it has to be great creative and it has to be frequent. But here's the interesting thing. A 38-year-old and a 60-year-old and a 29-year-old like you. But when you turn on the radio, you expect to hear commercials. When you turn on the television, you expect to see commercials. When you drive in your car, you expect to see ads on billboards. But when you go on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you are there to be a voyeur and see what the hell is going on. And what they've done on these social platforms, the amount of ads are annoying. Now, are they better at serving based on what you look at? Yes. My entire feed is law firm vendors and law firms all day long. Guess what? I'm not a buyer. I buy sneakers, but I don't get sneaker ads anymore.
Right.
Because all I look at are law firms on my social media because I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how you want to reach people and what is going to actually resonate. Because, again, most law firms forget this. 98% of legal marketing is brand building. 2% is call to action.
But it's hard when you work with consultants and anybody that's been in the game for a little bit of time, especially as a young firm, they'll tell you, look, you got to get the cases in now. I know that, but I said, well, why can't I do both? Right? Why can't I get the cases in now by running my own meta ads with my face, my name, my brand? Like we're running good creative with people that know what they're doing, right? So folks that get jaded by the experience, well, who did you hire? Is there a track record? And is there a track record helping someone like you? Because it's great to have driven all these cases to a behemoth in the market. But if you're young and trying to be agile and you don't have all the war chest to spend, show me what you did for that guy in a comparable market. That's what my expectation should be.
Right.
So I have an interesting question for you. Lee Rudin Law Firm, but your brand is Get Rude. When people speak of you that are your clients, how do they refer to you? What do they say?
That's a good question. I will tell you that the rude part resonates, and it's why I thought this was the way to go. I get text messages from clients where they'll come in, Mr. Rude or Rude. And the whole point of this was you can spell my name wrong. You can't spell rude wrong. It's unfuck-uppable, right? I wanted to idiot-proof the brand. And so Mary and I were talking offline, like I own an 800 number so that you can call me from your touch tone phone or your rotary dial. But the point was I have it now. It's an asset to go with the larger brand, which is I have all the social handles, right? Get Rude Law. I have the website, getrude.com. All things that I think you need to you got to put the pieces in place so that if you want to grow or if you want to be found, you have consistency across the market, across the channels. Now, no matter what I do, I can drive them to get rude, and they should be able to find me.
Mm-hmm.
You're
And
in
your
an
clients describe you as the nicest guy.
It's not be rude, Margarita. It's get rude.
Yeah.
And we're in a market where a lot of rude things happen
Yeah.
over on Bourbon Street.
Mhm.
You can do some interesting videos on Bourbon Street.
It's a great place. Look, this is a great business to have a moniker like mine. Right? It's why there are other do this, right? Why do you think Adler's the hammer? Why is there the anti-lawyer lawyer? Why are there the strong arms? It's because people come to us scorned and screwed and
Mhm.
mad. And so you kind of want to meet them where they are. And then, I get these calls from adjusters or clients and like, oh, you're not so bad. I thought you were going to be really ugly. And I say, it's not be rude, it's get rude. And I can give you the honey and I can give you the vinegar. You just pick your poison.
Yeah. You
At the end
choose.
of the day, how do you get noticed? But more importantly, how do you get remembered? And, with all the conversations I have with lawyers across the country who want to talk about all the nitty gritty of what they do,
Mhm.
there's only 3 things that really matter. Who are you? What do you do? And how do I reach you easily? Because the rest of it, if somebody's not in the market, they don't care. There's a cup right here, a Yeti, whatever brand this is. But I guarantee you, we could invest money in marketing about this Yeti, or it's a Kisek, Kyesek, brand I never heard of. Probably a lot less expensive than a Yeti.
For sure.
But we could go online, we could go on air, we could market that, invest money in marketing. And if we have the right price point and we make that the sexiest cup in the world, we could sell 1 million of them.
Hold on. It just happened in a weird way, not exactly how you're describing it. The Stanley Cup, right? The Stanley Cup that every yoga mom was walking around with. It had been in the market for decades. And it was a kind of a blue collar company. And then it blew up, maybe because of TikTok or something. And everybody and their mother had to have one.
Mhm.
And then, of course, they threw the fuel on the fire. And all of a sudden, it's probably one of the biggest cup brands in the world now.
What did they do different than the other cups?
Nothing.
Oh, they did.
Oh, well, go ahead.
They are bigger than the average. I don't even know.
Yeah, they are.
I don't
They're
even know
like
what
coffee addicts.
Yeah,
They're
I'm a lunatic. Like, that's what I drink out of anyway. So I appreciate that. But sure.
Think about this. If you were
They're bigger than my 32 ounce or 36 ounce city.
But hold on a second. Well, I have a
Like,
feeling I know what you're going to say. But think about this. That cup is not colder than a comparable Amazon knockoff. It's not this. It's not that. What is it? It's larger. It's got a sticker on it. It's got a brand on it. And people bought the brand, the shape for sure, but it's not the same to walk into that yoga studio with a generic version of the Stanley Cup versus the Stanley Cup.
the Kaisek.
The Kaisek, right?
Watch this. You cut your finger. You're bleeding badly. What are you going to put on it?
You want a Band-Aid, not a steri strip or whatever else, right?
Well, you want a
Band-Aid.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
A Band-Aid is a brand.
Yeah.
A bandage is what needs to go on your finger.
Or a Ziploc bag, right?
A Ziploc bag. Brand matters so much. I love asking this question to lawyers. This is a fun one. What's the best sneaker out there, Lee?
Whatever one I like.
Which one?
I wear New Balance.
You wear New Balance.
New Balance.
I'm a New Balance guy.
Okay, so we're going to say that the average lawyer makes enough money to be able to go to a podiatrist and have their foot checked and have an orthotic made, so any sneaker is the best sneaker for you. Have you ever done that?
No, sir.
But New Balance is back in chic today. It wasn't for a while.
I wore it before.
I've been wearing it since I ran track in high school.
I have wide feet. I got made fun of as a kid because I had the dad sneakers, and I was like, but this is what fits me, so I don't want my feet to hurt.
But it's the same thing with the computer. People will sit there and say an Apple is the best computer. I don't know if it is or isn't. I'm not a computer scientist. And you could do that with everything out there. Why a Porsche? You know, guys want a Porsche. They want to drive that speed machine.
It's status. It's brand and it's status. And
branding, messaging, investing in actual like organic content. That's the checklist. That's what all of these brands have done.
Well, this is the thing too, Margarita. So, you know, one of the challenges, I have some friends that came out similar to me, right? Left bigger firms in my market. And they said, my friends and family would never hire me because I was at that firm, that billboard advertising firm. Mm-hmm. So now they're able to get cases they couldn't get. So, you know, I guess part of the dance here is figuring out how do you position yourself in the market so that the perception is absorbed, the perception you want is absorbed by the client so that you get the clients you want. And if it's all of them, great. But you may get pushback where they say, no, I don't want to hire you because you're out there advertising or advertising like that. I'm certain I get that.
Yeah. And you're also going to get, you know, whatever your size is, somebody's going to say you're too big, you're too small. But the key is you need to know who you are, what your advantage is, what your brand's going to be, and go after your market. And, you know, we mentioned before that there are so many impressions to get on media outlets like OTT or even in the digital space, right? And impressions to buy. Like, go after that. There's plenty.
Give them the Morgan statistic.
So there's not a law firm in America that has a 10% market share in their market.
Okay.
And if you think about the investments that are made, the single largest advertising category in local media today is law firms. It used to be car dealers. It is not any longer. Now I'm gonna throw an interesting one out at you guys. First off, what age do you think the average consumer is that hires a personal injury law firm?
47.
35? 35?
Way too young. It's actually 44 and a half.
Okay.
But here's something interesting. As I speak to lawyers like Lee, who are on the younger side versus the heritage brands. And all this digital media is done to reach the younger people.
Right.
I'm not going to mention who I was with, but I was sitting with two young lawyers, your age, and their marketing director, who is 24 years old. And I said to her, God forbid you got in a car accident. Are you picking up the phone and calling these two guys, or are you calling your parents? And she looked at her bosses. She looked at me and said, I'm calling my parents. Okay, great. That makes sense. Not a married woman, because most married people will go to their spouse first before they go to their parents. So then I went and said, okay, your parents, they know where you work, but they believe in XYZ firm instead. And they say to you, you should hire XYZ firm. They're going to take care of you right. I said, who are you going to hire? These two guys or XYZ? And now she's sweating.
But what's interesting though, it depends on the demo. With Hispanic, it's the other way around.
Well, they're teaching their parents. Yes.
Parents call the children.
The assimilated Hispanic, like you, like Aleda, my better half. Yes, you speak Spanish to people, but you live your day-to-day life in English.
Oh yeah.
So you are an assimilated. Are you second or third generation?
I was born here. My parents were born in Mexico. So yeah.
You're first generation in America, but you're really second generation because they came here.
Yeah.
But this girl sweating says, "Oh, I'm calling XYZ law firm." And the two guys were great. They're like, understand. My point was to them, because they were saying they wanted to be this young brand. I'm like, that's great. But in your market, which was not Hispanic,
Right.
the young brand is not going to reach the people who are going to actually make the decision.
Right.
More women make the decision on a law firm than men do.
Well,
It's true.
there's that.
Injury and crim.
And if you're advertising, I do a lot of advertising on Facebook and Instagram, right? The demo on Facebook skews older. And so if you're running ads on meta platforms, odds are you're going to skew from 35 to 65. You're not going to skew sub 35 because they're probably on TikTok and Snapchat and whatever else is new and coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I have kids from 33 to 22 who will never have cable TV. They will not use Facebook. They are impossible to break through to unless it's something that they want or some influencer has got them on. I mean, I have bought more clothing for my girls from brands that I never, ever heard of and ridiculously priced for the same garment. And look, I'm a brand guy. I'm the Robert Graham guy. I pay stupid prices for shirts because they're bold and loud and stand out.
Yeah.
But would you buy them if they weren't Robert Graham? They just were bold and loud and stood out?
No. It's my brand.
So no. But would you buy the bold shirt if the bold shirt wasn't a Robert Graham shirt?
Generally not, because I wouldn't go shopping there.
Got it.
Yeah.
I bought 2 jackets that are quite hideous from a clothing maker at a conference. But the point of it was, for me, I just want to stand. I don't even know his name.
No, just kidding. Don't answer that.
I don't know his name. But
okay.
Again, my marketing is very different than somebody like a law firm who needs to reach the masses to find the 2% that are in the market.
But back to what we said a couple minutes ago. The point of Gary's shirts is not dissimilar to the point of that we're making, which is you got to get their attention. And so the shirts open the door to the conversation, and then Gary can deliver the, hey, I'm the radio guy because I've been in this game for so long and look at what I've done. But they probably don't stop and talk to him but for the shirts and the reputation that he's built in the community because of the shirts starting it all off.
You two could walk into a room of 100 people and 80 to 90 are going to like you. I walk into a room with one of my shirts, 50 are put off. So I say to my team, who do I want to work with? The 50 that love what Gary's wearing and like me, or the 50 that were like, what's up with this guy? And everybody always says, oh, you want to work with the 50 that liked you? I'm like, I want to earn the trust and respect because the friendship will come. That will come. But we as human beings, unfortunately, I try and do it a little less as I get older. We judge people from the first look. It is just an innate thing that we do as people and say, that's my person or that's not my person, versus getting to know them. The young generation, they can't walk up to the three of us, put their hand out and say, hi, I'm Gary. They need to text. Pick up the phone and call. My daughter said to me, Dad, before you call me, text me. I'm like, you are out of your fucking mind. Unfuckable. What was the word?
I like that. I don't think I've used it before, but I didn't fuck it up saying it. So there we go.
But that's the mentality of a young woman who wants a text before a phone call. And she's personable as could be. She's friendly as could be. But that's the way they've been programmed. And you've got young ones. It's scary.
Look, I'm with your daughter. I got to tell my mom, my wife, I'm like, you call me, I'm in meetings all day. I'm on podcasts. Like, I can't necessarily answer. Just text me. And if I can talk to you, I'm happy to talk to you anytime you want. But if you call me, the odds are I probably can't answer. So anyway.
And I don't answer the phone after 8 p.m. unless, first off, I'm generally getting into bed around 8:30. But I'm on the phone all day from 7 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. I need a little bit of a break.
You're going to go horse. All right, Margarita.
All right, guys. We could talk for like a whole hour. I got to ask you one more question, and then we got to wrap this up. These are such good. Well, actually, two. How can folks get a hold of you if they want to learn more about your law firm, Lee, and if they want to learn more about what you can do for them, Gary?
You go first.
So first, I'm open to having a conversation with anybody to help. That's part of my evolving, is giving back.
I can vouch for that. You're happy to share it with.
We cannot work with anybody. I will help anybody in the legal field. So you could call me on my cell phone. I will answer if it's before 8, 954-560-6371. Or you could find my loud shirts at Gary Sarner on Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok. Or look at this, scrolling our website and our 888 number that nobody's ever called. Nobody.
If somebody calls, you'll know it was from this show. There's your attribution right there.
Attribution, baby. Attribution. All right, look. Well, I want to vouch for the fact that this man is a mensch and has been very kind with information, connection. So seriously, guys, if you do need help, have questions, call Gary. And you can call me too. I mean, I haven't been in this game all that long, but I've made my mistakes.
But text you first to make sure you can talk.
Sure. I'm giving you the 800 number. It's not textable, so it is fuck upable. So anyway, law firm is Rudin Law. Website is getrude.com. On YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, it's at GetRudeLaw. And if you want to email me, it's lee@getrude.com. The phone number, 833-438-7833. That's a tracking number. So if you call that number on the scroll, someone's getting the attribution, but it ain't going to be Margarita. So 833-438-7833, which is 833-GET-RUDE.
Can I go back and ask you a question, Margarita, since you love data?
Oh, yes. I love data. And historical facts. And
with all the different law firms that you work with.
Yes.
When they go to Lee's site, they go to Get Rude, and his phone number, whatever it is, 504, whatever, Google changes the phone number, right? So when the call comes into intake and they sign the case up, and now the end of the month, they come to their illustrious CMO, Margarita. How do you unpack that data?
So I have not worked on Lee's site, but the way it's supposed to work is you want to have a tool like CallRail, and you want to activate something called dynamic insertion. Because then as your CMO, I can go into a CallRail. There's other software, it's just an easy one. And I can see what the person actually Googled on Google, if they Googled anything, and look at keywords. And then I can also see the journey. I can see where, if they went to a browser. So if they searched a term, went to a Google browser, and then landed on a specific blog, I can see that, and I can understand not only what the last touch point was, which is your website. I can see the specific page, and I can even pull data on how long did the calls last, so that with data like that, I can predict what keywords are actually worth more to your firm, SEO wise and search ad wise, and help you make smarter decisions. Yeah. I call that witchcraft. It's fun.
Do you like that? Do you like the call tracking? I mean, it's good for attribution, but is it good for brand building?
Yes, because most people, when they're actually hurt or accused of something or whatever that pain point is, and they're on the phone or on the computer ready to call, they're really not looking at the number. Like, they're looking, but they're not really looking at the number. They're looking at your name, your law firm name, your logo, like right when they're calling. If it's like a billboard or a radio ad, then that's different. I would use a vanity number or something more memorable. But for digital, it doesn't really matter in the psychology of the person calling what the number actually is. They need to just be able to press it. And if you can get data on what their experience was, what their journey was, to me, that's worth more than the random chance that they might remember what number they dialed in the middle of their crisis.
So watch this. Do you remember your parents' home phone number in the house you grew up in?
I feel like that's a trick question. You know, the answer is yes.
Okay. Out of your 5 closest girlfriends, wherever they may be, how many of their phone numbers do you know?
I don't even know my kids' phone numbers. I'm ashamed to say. Yeah.
I am not a proponent of phone numbers in ads any longer because nobody is going to remember it.
Yeah.
And you could sit there and pound in their head with the type of frequency we buy on radio. Put it in your phone in case you need us.
But if it's a vanity number, it can be sticky. It can still work. But yeah, to your point, if you don't have that, then don't even bother. Your brand.
A lot of times the vanity numbers become part of the brand, part of the whole. Yeah.
Right.
833, get rude.
That's it.
Exactly.
GetRude.com. Even easier.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Guys, I have one more question. What's your favorite sandwich? And then we got to wrap it. This is the longest podcast I've done. We just
One special for one.
There you go. See?
We're gonna have. I know your answer already.
I was gonna change it up now.
Oh,
I was gonna change it up.
Okay.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's see what you got.
I want corned beef Swiss on rye all day long, every day. I will not get that down here in New Orleans.
All right. So last time we talked, Margarita, I said an awesome Philly cheesesteak, and I name dropped Angelo's in Philly. But I'm going to give you a different sandwich also in Philadelphia. It's a chicken cutlet sandwich with kale Caesar on top from this place called Liberty Kitchen that is insanely good for something so simple. So I'm going to go with that for today, just to keep it fresh.
What's
I like
yours, Margarita?
A knuckle sandwich.
Ooh, nice. That's on brand. I like that for the marketing boss.
Do you like the Philly cheesesteak?
I actually like Italian. I like Italian subs. Yeah.
Okay, so not a Philly cheesesteak.
Jimmy John's is my favorite. They're Vito.
Okay.
What did you say?
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's.
Margarita. That's blasphemy.
That is blasphemy.
Am I in trouble? I like it.
You're absolutely in trouble. We got to change the name of the podcast.
By the way, marketing at its best.
But she does not care about your sandwich if she's going to Jimmy John's.
Right.
Take that to the bank.
But
oh my God.
The next time we're in Atlanta together, I'm going to take you to a place called Big Dave's Cheesesteaks, downtown Atlanta. Kid from Philly, better than Angelo's.
You're coming, Margarita.
You're coming, Margarita.
I'm there.
All right.
I'll
We'll do
be
the
there.
podcast live from.
Oh my gosh, that'll be fun. Yes, I have local media here.
Hang on. I'll get Will Hamill from Ken Nugent to come on also.
Oh, fun. All right.
He's the new managing partner.
Just us boys. I like it.
Little discussion.
I like it. Awesome. I love it.
Knuckles
All right, guys.
Good.
It's been
Thank
great.
you, Margarita. Appreciate you.
Hanging out with
We're not
Yes.
having Vietnamese chicken wings. I will not do that today.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Y'all, I'll see you backstage. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Margarita.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and